Plant
Cellulose?
cell? Cellulose. Correct. Are they motile?
No.
Okay. Do they have sexual reproduction in their life cycle?
No.
Yes, 100%. Sexual reproduction will be there. These are very advanced ones. All right. So we know that kingdom Plantae is one of the kingdoms that are actually classified by R.H. Whittaker, right? Now, in this particular kingdom, we have all of these. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Ma'am,
Hmm.
sexual reproduction in plant.
Yeah. Sexual reproduction in plants. Sexual reproduction happens mostly in, like you can say, the maximum amount, and it's for angiosperms. Like it's there. Sexual reproduction
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes,
Isn't
ma'am.
it? There's male gamete that is pollen grain, female gamete that is ovule, isn't it? They fuse double fertilization, you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
There is a whole chapter, isn't it, on
Yes,
it?
ma'am.
Hmm. All right. So are you people interested in switching on your videos? Let us have like a one-to-one interaction. Hmm? No?
Ma'am, just a minute.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Just 5 minutes.
Okay. Sure. All right. So I'm continuing. Okay. So yes, sexual reproduction is there. 100% it's there. Now, talking about the plant kingdom, see further like how there is a certain set of hierarchical view, right? There is, it starts with kingdom. After kingdom, what comes? Do you people remember? What is the hierarchy? After kingdom comes? Hmm? Wait, I'll give you this thing. You can remember it like this. Keep pots clean or family gets sick. K is for kingdom. That is the highest hierarchy. P is for phylum, which comes after the kingdom. Phylum is for animals, and the word division is for plants. Okay. So kingdom, division, or kingdom, phylum. Now C stands for the clean. The C stands for class. O stands for order. Family is just the same family. Then the G is genus, and then the S is species. Okay. So kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. This is a mnemonic that you can use to actually remember it. Keep pots clean or family gets sick. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, talking about the certain divisions that are there. Now, since we are talking about the plant kingdom, then we will talk about divisions, right? Now, kingdom is Plantae. Now, under the kingdom Plantae will come certain divisions. Now, let us see what are those divisions. So, we have division algae. Then there is bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Okay, and it is arranged from the most primitive to the most advanced. Okay, now now to talk about certain other classification methods that people, or you can say systems of classification that people actually discussed or referred to initially. So in the earlier systems of classification, obviously we know that they use gross superficial morphological characters such as the habit. Habit means the place where they live. Then the color, the number, and the shape of leaves. How the leaves are oriented, what is the number, what is the color. Now, basically, all of these characters, since they are morphological characters, we'll also call them as vegetative characters because it is with respect to the body of the plant. Now, when this was done, that type of artificial system, which was based upon the morphological features, That was the artificial system of classification, which was given by Carolus Linnaeus. Right? Now, the artificial system gave equal weightage to vegetative and sexual characteristics. But this is not acceptable since we know that vegetative characters are more easily affected by the environment. We cannot, you can say, compare them side by side. It's not the same. They are not the same, not at all. There are different levels. Now, then came another system of classification, which was natural system of classification. Now, this was actually based on the natural affinities of among the organisms and consider not only the external features, but along with the external, the internal features were also considered. Like what? Cell structure, anatomy, embryology, phytochemistry, every single thing is now considered from inside also. So the natural system of classification, it was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. Bentham and Hooker. This is what we normally refer to it as. Bentham and Hooker's classification is the natural system of classification. The one by Linnaeus, it was the artificial system. Now, even though here we are seeing that, okay, Bentham and Hooker gave the natural system of classification. He considered the external features as well as the internal features. But there is still something being left. What is it? There is no mention about the relation between the organisms. There is no mention about the ancestry, right? So now when the ancestry will be taken into consideration, then that type of system of classification will be known as phylogenetic classification system. Now we are taking the ancestry, the relations between, like, you understand, like how we are connected to the ancestors, or how plants or animals are connected to the ancestors. So when we'll take that, that is phylogeny, right? And when we'll take that evolutionary history or evolutionary relationship into account, so then that type of classification will be phylogenetic classification. Okay. Now, because of this particular reason, for example, now if there are two organisms, okay, two very different organisms, you know nothing about them, okay, but I tell you one information which is very useful to you, that both of them have one common ancestor. Then it will be so much easier for you to understand about these two organisms. Like, okay, if one common ancestor is there, then you would think that, okay, their body structure will be same, their some activities will be same, because they have one common ancestor. This is the reason why the best type of, you can say, system of classification is phylogenetic, because alongside external features, alongside internal features, it is also taking in the ancestry, the evolutionary history into consideration. Clear? All right. Now, this assumes that organisms belonging to the same taxa have a common ancestor. Now, we now use information from many other sources too, so that, see, when we are trying to classify any organism, there are like so many things that we might take into consideration, multiple, it's like beyond our imagination. So we gather help from wherever we can. So these are the following systems of classification that we have studied. Apart from that, there is also numerical taxonomy. Basically, here we use the computers, like whatever database stored information is there about anything, we'll take it from there, right? Numbers and codes are assigned to all the characters and the data are then processed. In this way, each character is given equal importance, and at the same time, hundreds of characters can be considered. Because now, if computer is there, then our work is much easier than manually being done, right? Now, this was one help. The second was cytotaxonomy. This is based on the cytological information. See, the word cyto refers to the cell. The information of the cell is cyto. Okay, so it's cytotaxonomy, meaning how many chromosome numbers are there, what is the structure of the chromosome, behavior of the chromosome, all of these, everything related to the cell will answer many things about us. Initially, the first thing it will answer that whether the organism is eukaryotic or prokaryotic, isn't it? Yes. Now moving forward, then there is another aid to us, that is chemotaxonomy, that use certain chemical constituents of the plant to resolve confusions and are also used by taxonomists these days. Certain chemicals which may be, defense chemicals, may be present in one plant, may not be present in the other plant. So all of these are the health. This much is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. It's fine. Now I can see you, so you can nod and I can understand that you people have understood. All right. Okay. So now we're talking about the first division. Okay, that is algae. Now, everyone has seen algae. Have you ever been to waterfall areas? Have you seen those rocks having green stuff, bushy stuff on it? That is algae, right? And even not like, let's not go to waterfall only. Sometimes, in villages also, if you have ever been to a village, you might have seen in the washrooms, their walls, that bricks, they have certain green lining. Even that is algae. So algae is, you can see that clearly, it's green, beautifully green, but you cannot make out like, okay, is there a leaf, stem, nothing. That's not there. It is thallus-like structure, a pressed thallus-like structure. Now, talking about algae, so algae are chlorophyll-bearing, simple, thalloid, autotrophic, and largely aquatic, both freshwater and marine organisms. Okay, mostly it is aquatic. You will find algae in the water. Okay, but apart from that, they are also found in moist stones, soils, even on woods. Okay, so these are the certain characteristics. Now, we also know from biological classification that algae forms a symbiotic relationship with a fungus, right? And that relationship is lichen. And even algae is present on animals such as on sloth bear. So algae is, you can say, diverse in its habitat, and it is chlorophyll bearing. Okay, that is why it comes under kingdom planting. So it is chlorophyll bearing. It has a very simple body structure, and it is thalloid. Thalloid means thallus-like. Okay, something that is not differentiated, just like this. Okay, now the form and size of algae is highly variable, ranging from colonial forms like volvox and the filamentous forms like Eulothrix and Spirogyra. A few of the marine forms, such as kelps, form massive plant bodies. Even after being thalloid, some of their sizes are varied. Some are huge thallus, some will be smaller thallus. Now see, one thing that can come from this particular paragraph is that they'll give you certain names of the organisms. Okay, like for example, they'll give you all the examples of algae, and amongst them, they will ask you which one out of the following is filamentous. So you should know that Eulothrix and Spirogyra, right? Volvox is not filamentous, it is colonial. Okay, so this is important. You can mark it in your book. As I said, everywhere, wherever examples are given, those are important. Wherever the scientific names are given, that is important. Okay. Now, moving forward, the algae reproduce by vegetative, asexual, and sexual methods. All the three methods are found in algae. Vegetative reproduction happens by fragmentation. Do you people know about fragmentation? Right? When one body breaks into certain fragments, then each of those fragments grow into a new organism. That is fragmentation. Now, each fragment develops into a thallus. This was vegetative reproduction. Talking about the asexual reproduction is by the production of different types of asexual spores, the most common being zoospores. Okay. Now, the asexual spores are flagellated, meaning flagella is present, and whenever flagella is present, it means that they can move. Then, whenever these spores germinate, they give rise to the new plant, that is a new algae plant. Okay, now moving on to the sexual reproduction. So it takes place through the fusion of two gametes. This is the whole point. See, it starts from algae only, isn't it? So it happens with the fusion of two gametes. Now, these gametes can be isogametes, like they can be flagellated. First of all, they can be motile and similar in size. That happens in the case of Eulothrix. The male and the female gametes are similar in size, and both of them are motile. Or it can be non-flagellated, means non-motile, but similar in size, such as in Spirogyra. Now, in both these conditions, whether it is motile or not, but their size is same. Right? Male and the female gamete will be of the same size, and that condition is isogamous. Iso means same. Okay. So now, after that, first condition is isogamous under the sexual reproduction. Then fusion of two gametes dissimilar in size, as in the species of Eudornia, Eudorina, is termed as anisogamous. Now they are not similar, so they are anisogamous. Then when the fusion is between one large non-motile female gamete and a smaller motile male gamete is termed as oogamous, and that takes place in volvox and fucus. Okay. Now, if you see all these three conditions, can you tell me which one of the following exists in human out of these three?
Oogamous.
Oogamous. All right. So now again, these diagrams that are there, you should know that which one is which. Okay. Because they have given the labeling also. They maybe give the diagram and ask you to label it or which organism this is. Now, algae are useful to man in a variety of ways. At least a half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on Earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide fixation, formation of glucose, right? And when photosynthesis happens, oxygen is released as a byproduct. So it is very beneficial to us humans also and many animals. Now, being photosynthetic, they increase the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate surroundings because they do photosynthesis. Now, they are of paramount importance as primary producers of energy-rich compounds which form the basis of the food cycles of all aquatic animals. Since they are, they are the most primitive organisms and they are photosynthetic. Now, if any organism is photosynthetic, it will be a primary producer because, it will make the glucose molecule and everything by the process of photosynthesis. Now, many species of Porphyra, Laminaria, Sargassum are among the 70 species of marine algae which is used as a food. Algae are rich in, you can say, a lot of good protein and also carbohydrates, because of which they are used as food supplements. Okay. Now, certain marine brown and red algae produces large amount of hydrocolloid, which are water holding substances. Okay, meaning these are the substances that can actually keep moisture in places because they hold water. So if we want to provide moisture for a long period of time anywhere, so we'll use them. Okay, so they are water holding substances. What are those substances? Algin, which is produced by brown algae, and carrageenan, which is produced by red algae. See, this part they should have given later on. First, they should tell you that there are three types of algae: green algae, brown algae, and red algae. Then only they should say that, okay, this gives us this. Anyway, now you know that there are three types of algae. There is green algae, which is chlorophyce. There is brown algae, that is pheophyce. And then there is red algae, that is rhodophyce. Okay. So moving forward, we'll keep this for the last. First, we'll discuss the three classes and then we'll move on. See, now kingdom, phylum, then after that, keep pots clean, class, right? Third comes the class, isn't it? So now we'll talk about the classes that come under the division, that is algae. So chlorophyce, pheophyce, and rhodophyce are the classes. Now talking about chlorophyce. Now these are the green algae. Okay, the chloro here is referring to chlorophyll. That is why chlorophyce. Okay. So the members of chlorophyce are commonly called green algae. The plant body may be unicellular, colonial, or filamentous. Various forms are there. Unicellular, one cell; colonial, many cells are coming together, forming a colony. And filamentous, you remember we studied about that, nostoc, that also was filamentous. Now, they are usually grass green in color due to the dominance of pigments, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. This is important because the type C, chlorophyll is present in A, B, C forms. Which type is present in which type of algae, it is important to remember. So chlorophyll A and B are present in chlorophyce. Now, We know that chlorophyll is present inside the chloroplast, isn't it? And chloroplast is a type of plastid. So the chlorophyll pigments are localized in definite chloroplast. So they have a structure wherein the pigment will be located. Now the chloroplast may be discoid, which is disc-like. Now we are talking about the shape of the chloroplast. So it can be disc-like, which is discoid. It can be flat, plate-like. It can have a network-like structure, and that is reticulate when it is in the form of a network. Then it can be cup-shaped also, spiral, ribbon-shaped, and it varies from species to species. Now, most of the members have one or more storage bodies that are known as pyrenoids. Now, see, in all of the classes that we are going to study, the thing that you can use to actually differentiate them is the pigment which is present in them, firstly. Second, what is their storage body, because it is different for all the three. And then the examples. Okay. So talking about the storage body of chlorophyces, so we have pyrenoids that are located in the chloroplast. Pyrenoids contain protein besides starch. Like apart from having starch, it contains proteins. Some algae may store food in the form of oil droplets. Green algae usually have a rigid cell wall which is made up of an inner layer of cellulose and an outer layer of pectose. Inside cellulose, outside pectose. Talking about the vegetative reproduction, it takes place by fragmentation or by the formation of different types of spores. Asexual reproduction is by flagellated zoospores that are produced inside the zoosporangia, meaning these are endogenous spores. Okay. Now the sexual reproduction shows considerable variation in the type and formation of sex cells, and it may be isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. Because we studied in the algae part only about the reproduction, now it's going to be same for most of them. Now, some commonly found green algae, very important part: Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Eulothrix, Spirogyra, and Tara. All of these, like every example is important. Now, okay, have they given anything about green algae? No. Okay, moving on, let us talk about the brown algae. Now, the members of the Phaeophyceae are the brown algae, and they are found mostly in marine habitats, meaning sea. They show great variation in size and form. They can range from simple branched filamentous forms such as ectocarpus to profusely branched forms such as kelps. And it can reach a height of 100 meters as well. Now they possess chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Like how chlorophyceae had chlorophyll A and B, now they have A and C. Along with chlorophyll A and C, they also have certain carotenoids and xanthophyll. These are also names of pigments only. So these pigments are present along with chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C. They vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown depending upon the amount of xanthophyll pigment. Fucoxanthin, fucoxanthin is a type of xanthophyll. Okay, if fucoxanthin will be in a higher amount, then it will be more brown. If it will be less, then it will be less brown, moving to the greenish side. Now, in this case, food is stored as complex carbohydrates, which may be in the form of laminarin. The stored food of brown algae is laminarin or mannitol. The vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall, usually covered on the outside by a gelatinous coating of algin. In the chlorophyceae, there is cellulose and then there was pectin, right? Pectose. But here there is cellulose and then there is algin. So again, this is one variation. The protoplast contains, in addition to plastids, a centrally located vacuole and nucleus. Vacuole and nucleus, extra structures are present in the protoplast. Protoplast is the cytoplasm. In the cell, these two structures will be there. Now, the plant body is usually attached to the substratum by a holdfast and has a stalk that is known as the style and leaf-like photosynthetic organ that is the frond. Okay, so they have a structure that attaches them to wherever they have to attach. Let's just see this one. See this, hold fast. This part. This part helps them to attach to any space or structure or a rock. And then stipe is the portion that, actually anchors it to actually move with the flow of water maybe. And the front part, this is leaf-like. See, they have not said that they have leaves. No, they don't have leaves. They have structure that looks like a leaf. It's not a leaf, okay? So front, and it is a photosynthetic organ because chlorophyll, again, chlorophyll is present. Okay. Now, vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation. Asexual reproduction in most brown algae is by biflagellate zoospores that are pear-shaped and have two unequal laterally attached flagella. This pear shape in biology is known as pyriform. So if they ask you pyriform zoospores are found in dash. So now you know Phaeophyceae. Okay. And they have two unequal laterally attached flagella. Talking about the sexual reproduction, so it can be isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. And union of gametes may take place in water or within the oogonium, meaning inside the female body, right? Now, the gametes are again pyriform, means pear-shaped and bear two laterally attached flagella. The common forms are, again, these examples, ectocarpus, dictyota, laminaria, sargassum, and fucus. Clear? And this algae, this is the one that has high water holding capacity. It is a hydrocolloid. Okay, like how we discussed earlier. This one. See, water holding substances, algae. It is of very importance to us humans because we can, you can say, exploit everything that is there. So this algae is also one way of how we can exploit even algae also. Okay, so algae. Now, moving forward, we are coming to the last class of the algae, that is rhodophytes. They are the red algae. Why? Because now they have a very dominating red pigment that is known as R-phycoerythrin. Okay, phycoerythrin in their body. Majority of the red algae are marine with greater concentrations found in the warmer areas of the sea. They occur in both well-lighted region close to the surface and also at great depths in the ocean where relatively little light penetrates. So they can be found in variety of ways, on the surface of water also, deep inside the water also, and in the places like the surface of the water will receive most of the light that is coming from the sun, but the depth won't receive any. So they can be present in both of these locations. Now the red thalli of most thalli is the singular form of most of the red algae are multicellular. Okay, they are multicellular. Now some of them have complex body organization. Now their stored food is Floridian starch. And this is again a very important line, that which is very similar to amylopectin and glycogen in structure. See, when we study biomolecules chapter, we study about glycogen, right? Because it is a biomolecule. We also study about amylopectin. So Floridian starch in terms of its structure is just like amylopectin or glycogen. The red algae usually reproduce vegetatively by fragmentation. They reproduce asexually by non-motile spores and sexually by non-motile gametes. Okay, so one kind of very famous kind of question that comes from here is, which of the following has no motile structure all their life? Rhodophyceae. Because even their asexual spores are non-motile and their sexual like gametes are also non-motile. So there is no stage in their life that they would have any motile structure. Zero. None. Okay, all of the structures in their life are non-motile. Moving forward, sexual reproduction is 100% oogamous and accompanied by complex post-fertilization developments. Meaning after the fertilization has been done, they have a very complex development which takes place later on. The common members are Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, and Gelidium. See, when I'm seeing these examples, I'm getting a nostalgia of my time when I used to study this. So I used to make a lot of mnemonics. That is why I told you that keep pots clean or family gets sick. So for this, I used to be P square G square. Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, and Gelidium. P square G square. I used to study it like this. So you can also use this if it helps you. So with this, we have completed, one division has been completed. Now tell me any doubts. No doubts? Everything is clear? Okay, let us see this. Yes.
What does it mean by brackish water?
Which one?
Brackish water in the habitat.
Brackish. Oh, this thing. Brackish water is, see, although the kind of water that is not too salty, nor it is fresh. It is right in the middle. Okay. Yes. Okay. You can go through the text one more time. See if you have any doubts. Any doubts? Okay, see, the cell wall thing that has not been mentioned in the text. The cell wall has cellulose, pectin, and polysulfate esters, some of these extra compounds that are present in the red algae. Clear? So we are done with the algae. Now let's move on to the next one, that is bryophytes. Now bryophytes are like most commonly known as the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Okay, amphibians of the plant kingdom. So they include various mosses and liverworts that are found commonly growing in moist, shaded areas in the hills. Now they require a lot of moisture. Now see, one thing that you will find slowly that, when we talk about evolution, whether it is the case of animals or plants, like in terms of study, they say that life began in water. Okay. And evolution took place, and slowly, the aquatic life, from aquatic, we moved on to terrestrial ones. Being on terrestrial habitat is an advanced feature. Okay. So in plants also, you will see that slowly, it is shifting towards land habitat or terrestrial habitat. In algae, there was no class or member that was actually, very dominantly present on land. All of them were present in water only, either fresh water, brackish water, or marine water. But now, what I said, amphibians of the plant kingdom, maybe they persist on land, but they require water. So slowly, we'll move on to the land habitat. Okay. Moving forward, bryophytes are also called as the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Now, why? Because these plants can live in soil, but are dependent on water for their reproduction process, sexual reproduction. Okay, that is why if water will be not there, then they will die, because they need the water for gamete transfer only. Now, they usually occur in damp, humid, and shaded localities. This is what they prefer, right? A damp area, a humid area. Now, they play an important role in plant succession on bare rocks or soil. Now, you might have studied about that. What is that? Hydroseer or Xerax, Hydrac or Xerax succession in class 12. Succession, have you studied? Ecosystem in chapter, I think it's there in the ecosystem chapter, or one type of succession is there, isn't it? Primary succession, secondary succession, all these things are there. They are very important for that particular process, for mostly for primary succession. Now, The plant body of bryophytes is more differentiated than that of algae. It is thallus-like and prostrate or erect and attached to substratum by unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. Now, it is thallus-like, but it is more, you can say, differentiated means what? You can see things clearly. You can see certain parts, distinguish them clearly. And it can either be prostrated, sort of bent, or it can be straight, erect also. It is attached to any substratum, whether a rock or the land, with the help of unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. Now, they are not mentioning roots or stems anywhere still. It's not there. They lack true roots. Roots are absent. True stems are absent. Even true leaves are absent. Okay. They may possess root-like, leaf-like, or stem-like structures. Okay. Now, the main plant body of bryophyte is haploid. What is the meaning of haploid? Haploid. What is the meaning? Haploid. You can give any rough idea that is there in your mind. I will teach you only, but I just want to know how much you know about haploid.
23 pair of chromosomes. 23 chromosomes.
23 chromosomes, not pair. See, haploid is that condition. See, not only 23, it can be any number. 23 you are saying with respect to humans, right? But it can be any number. See, haploid is the condition in which your organism or any cell has one set of chromosomes. It can be any number. So when there is one set of only one set of chromosome, then we'll call that condition as haploid. And diploid means two sets of chromosome. Okay. Now normally our body is diploid, isn't it? Same way, see, the haploid means one set of chromosome, diploid means two sets, triploid means three sets, and polyploid means more than three, right? And all of these things, they come under one thing, that is ploidy. Ploidy is how many sets of chromosome does a cell has. So now the ploidy can be haploidy, diploidy, triploidy, and polyploidy. Clear? These are the following ploidy levels. Now, their plant body is haploid, meaning one set of chromosomes. Okay. This haploid body produces gametes, and because of this reason, it is known as gametophyte. Gamete producing body that is haploid in nature is gametophyte. Now, the sex organs in bryophytes are multicellular. The male sex organ is antheridium. They produce biflagellate antherozoids. These are the male gametes. Instead of calling them sperms, we'll call them antherozoids, and they produce biflagellate. Biflagellate means two flagella are there, and obviously it is motile. The female sex organ is known as archegonium. It is a flask shape and produces a single egg. Okay, flask shape and produces one single egg, and obviously the female gamete is not motile. Now, the antherozoids are released into water where they come in contact with the archegonium. An antherozoid fuses with the egg to produce the zygote. Now, the zygote do not undergo reductional division immediately. They produce a multicellular body which is known as sporophyte. Now, this sporophyte is diploid. So, after the gametophyte produces gametes, like the male gametophyte produced male gamete, the female gametophyte produced female gamete. Now, when they fuse, whenever two gametes fuse, one zygote is made. Now, this zygote will not undergo meiosis immediately, but it will produce a structure that is multicellular structure, which is called as sporophyte. Now, this sporophyte that is produced, it is not free living. It is attached to the gametophyte, okay, for nourishment, okay, and it derives nourishment from it. Now, some cells of the sporophyte undergo reduction division, that is meiosis, to produce haploid spores. Now the gametophytes produce gametes, sporophytes produce spores. So now the sporophyte is producing the haploid spores, and these spores will germinate to produce the gametophyte. Now we are seeing in their life cycle, it starts with a gametophyte, right? Which is a haploid plant body, the main plant body. See, this is one of the questions that can come. What is the main plant body of bryophytes? So you should know it is gametophyte, that is haploid. And what will the gametophytes form? What will the gametophytes form? The gametophytes will make what? It's there in the name only. What will the gametophytes make? Say gametes. Male and female gametes, right? Gametes. So see, and when we talk about gametophytes, there are two. The male one is antheridium. The female is archegonium. Now the antheridium will make the antherozoid, that is the male gamete, and it is motile. The archegonium will make the female gamete, that is the egg, right? Now when they will fuse, a diploid zygote will be formed. Now this zygote will give rise to sporophyte, and sporophyte produces what? Spores. And then these spores that are haploid. See, zygote is diploid, sporophyte is diploid. But the spores that is produced, because it is happening as a result of meiosis, so it will be haploid and it will again give rise to the gametophyte. So you see the life cycle? You've understood this? All right. Now, bryophytes are in general are of little economic importance, but some mosses provide food for herbaceous mammals, birds, and other animals. Species of sphagnum, that is a moss, provides peat that have long been used as a fuel and as a packing material for transshipping of living material because of their capacity to hold water. Again, sphagnum is, it has the property to hold a lot of water. So it is used for that packaging whenever living substances are transported anywhere. And sphagnum is commonly known as peat moss. Remember this, peat moss. The common name of sphagnum is peat moss. And it is used as a fuel also and packaging material. Now, mosses along with lichens are the first organism to colonize rocks and hence are of great ecological importance. They decompose rocks, making the substrate suitable for the growth of higher plants. Since mosses form dense mat on the soil, they reduce the impact of falling rain and they also prevent soil erosion. Clear? And these bryophytes, they are divided into two, that is liverworts and mosses. Just like how algae was divided into chlorophyte, chlorophyceae, rhodophyceae, same way here, liverworts and mosses are the two divisions of the bryophyte. So you've understood the ecological importance of bryophytes. Where is it used? Why is it of great ecological importance in terms of colonization? See, whenever there is a land on which there is no vegetation, meaning no plant has been grown. Okay. So initially the plant to grow on that rock or that land will either be lichen or it will be moss. And then the other organisms, meaning other plants, will grow. Clear? Any doubts in bryophytes up till now? You've understood the life cycle? How it starts? Okay. All right. Since the time is over, let me ask you one, two things. First of all, the main plant body of bryophyte is?
Gametophyte.
Gametophyte. Gametophyte is what? What is the ploidy of gametophyte?
2N.
Haploid. Gametophyte is N. Haploid. Okay. Gametophyte is N. Always remember. Okay. The gametophyte will give rise to what?
Sporophyte.
Gametes. Firstly, gametes, right?
Gamete.
Yes, it will ultimately give rise to sporophytes only, but initially to start with gametes. Okay. What is the male sex organ of the gametophyte?
Antheridium.
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 And the female sex organ?
Archegonium.
Archegonium. And then both will produce the gametes. And always remember one thing, forever, no matter whether it is plants or whether it is animals, the gametes, the male and the female gametes will always, forever be haploid. Forever. Okay? Gametes will always, always, always be haploid. Never forget this thing. Okay? And always remember, this is very important. You must remember this thing, that the bryophytes, their dominant phase in life, like they exist more dominantly as a gametophyte, meaning their dominant phase in life is haploid, because gametophyte is haploid. Clear? Okay, so let's just keep it till here only for today, because the time is up. Now in the next class, we'll start with the liver parts. Clear? Do you people have any doubts? No doubts? Sure. Please revise this before coming to the next class, okay? I will ask gametophyte and sporophyte, I will ask, okay? Also, what is your vernacular language? What languages do you people speak at home?
Hindi, Urdu.
हिंदी उर्दू ओ तो चलो समझ में आता है ना? ओके गुड. देन व्हाट यू पीपल सपोज टू डू, एकदम अच्छे से सब कुछ अभी तक जितना पढ़ा है ना, सब कुछ अच्छे से याद करके आना. एंड आई विल फर्स्ट आस्क, गैमेटोफाइट स्पोरोफाइट बहुत दिक्कत होती है, मेरे टाइम में भी मुझे बहुत दिक्कत होती थी, इसलिए मैं तुम लोग को परेशान करूंगी, ठीक है? सो यू पीपल विल रिमेंबर इट एंड विल कंटिन्यू फ्रॉम हियर. ओके.